there was a nuclear deal in place before that Trump sabotaged. So let's go ahead and go over what this nuclear deal was before so you guys kind of get an idea of what we're talking about here. This is an older video, but it explains how the nuclear deal works.
So negotiators from Iran and the 6 big world powers have just emerged from months of negotiations in Austria and Switzerland to announce that, believe it or not, they have an Iran nuclear deal.
Every pathway to...
Now, this was done, obviously, under the Obama administration. You had John Kerry there, and here's Biden, a much younger Biden.
A nuclear weapon is cut off.
But what does that actually mean? How does all that actually work? Well, this gets technical really fast, but it helps if you go through and look at some of the most important issues. One of the big ones is
This is actually one of the few things that the Obama administration did well.
uranium. That's the stuff. You dig it out of the ground, use it for nuclear fuel for a power plant or even for a bomb. The deal requires Iran to give up 97% of its enriched uranium, almost all of it, down to just...
Now, you guys know that's very important because we know that's exactly, precisely what Israel stole from the United States to get to their own nuclear program. Uranium is a necessary component, highly enriched uranium, to be able to develop nuclear weapons.
A 300 kilogram stockpile, not very much.
Yeah, and Israel stole almost 100 to 200 kilos from us.
Uranium comes in different levels of enrichment. Now, this restriction is really severe. Iran is only allowed to have its uranium up to 3.67% enrichment. And to give you a sense of what that means, medical research grade uranium is enriched to 20%, and weapons grade uranium is enriched to 90%. So Iran's uranium is going to be way down at 3.67%, very safe in energy grade and not something that is anywhere near what can be used for a nuclear weapon. Iran is going to give up most of its centrifuges. It's going to go from 20,000 centrifuges to just 5,000 that are spinning fissile material, plus another 1,000 that it can use for research and development but can't use fissile material. And if Iran decided one day, you know what, we don't like this deal anymore, we're going to build a bomb, it would take it a really long time to do it. And that gets to another really important issue, and that's inspections. Inspections and monitoring are how we make sure that Iran is sticking to their end of the deal and that they're not cheating. The inspections that the U.S. got out of this deal are frankly just astonishing. One arms control analyst said he thought there was, quote, almost a 100% chance that if Iran cheated, it would be caught by these inspections. That's how good they are. So what does Iran get for accepting all of this? What Iran gets is relief from the economic sanctions that have been just crippling its economy. But what these sanctions do is they cut off Iran's economy from the outside world. They cut it off from international banking, international finance.
And that's kind of what's going on now because we have Iran heavily sanctioned, chat.
Have been just devastating Iran's economy, and they are really
But they have adapted to it. You know, obviously back then it was a lot, it sucked a lot more for them, but they've adapted fairly well now.
Desperate to get out from under these. And this is a big deal not just for Iran the state, but for the million people of Iran who, it's a big middle class, and they've been suffering under economic sanctions for too long. And they will finally get to have a chance at having a real economy, hopefully very soon after this.
All right. So let's go ahead and get into when Trump ended the nuclear deal, okay?
Candidate Trump promised to...
And this was years ago. This was, I think, on his first term.
Pull out of it. Today, President Trump did, with widespread implications. The president, who calls the deal defective at its core, is reimposing economic sanctions on Iran in response.
So he ripped it up, basically said, fuck that deal.
Iran's president threatened to start...
that the Obama administration had worked on.
...enriching uranium again. And Britain, France, and Germany, all signatories to the deal, say they will try to salvage it. We have reports tonight from Washington and Tehran. First, Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
The United States no longer makes empty threats. When I make promises, I keep them.
President Trump took the most aggressive path out of the deal, announcing the U.S. will reinstate the highest level of economic sanction on Iran.
The Iran deal is defective at its core. If we do nothing, we know exactly what will happen. In just a short period of time, the world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons.
The president declared he had definitive proof that Iran had violated the 2015 agreement aimed at freezing the country's nuclear ambitions, but produced no evidence. These were the president's top military advisors last fall.
Iran is not in material breach of the agreement.
Do you believe it's in our national security interest time to remain in the JCPOA?
Yes, Senator, I do.
Iranian President Hassan Rouhani insisted today it is the U.S., not Iran, that has broken the agreement, but said he may soon restart his country's nuclear program.
And this is roughly 6 years ago. So and I'm doing this again. So now we know, basically, here's the timeline. Obama administration comes in, secures the nuclear deal. Everything's all good. Trump comes in, rips the nuclear deal up, right? So obviously they'd been working on this for years, so they're pissed off. Now, fast forward to 2025, Trump tells them, look, we'll do a new nuclear deal and make it happen, but if you don't do the nuclear deal, we're going to bomb you. Now, obviously, Iran is reluctant to do anything with the United States because they don't feel as though they could trust us, which I could see their perspective. Because they had been working on this for a while, and then they just ripped up the deal, and now Trump's saying we need a new deal.
France, Germany, and the UK, also parties to the deal, issued a joint statement that expressed regret and concern over the U.S. exit.
Because this deal is the all-time worst.
Mr. Trump is celebrating it as a campaign promise fulfilled. By pulling out of the agreement, the president reverses one of the Obama administration's signature foreign policy legacies. Today, the former president called withdrawal a serious mistake. President Trump said he was open to renegotiations, but Iran is unlikely to come to the table. Senior global affairs.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to, and I mean, to this day, they're still reluctant to come to the table, and this was 6 years ago.
Contributor Ian Bremmer.
All of America's major allies, all of the Europeans strongly opposed America pulling out of this deal because they don't believe there is a plan B. They don't know how they could possibly get a better deal with the Iranians.
All right, Weijia is at the White House now. And Weijia, what is next now when it comes to reimposing these sanctions?
Well, the Trump administration says they go into effect immediately when it comes to new business with Iran, but it is allowing those foreign entities with existing deals periods of 90 or 180 days to wind down and get out of them. Jeff?
Timetable is a big part of it. Weijia Jiang, thank you.
Yeah, so that's from 6 years ago. Another reason why, okay, Iran doesn't trust us. So this guy right here, Qasem Soleimani, right? This guy was a highly decorated soldier in the Iranian military, high-ranking official. Basically, was an Iranian military officer who served in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from 1998 until his assassination by the United States in 2020. He was the commander of the Quds Force and IRGC's division, primarily responsible for extraterritorial and clandestine military operations, and played a key role in the Syrian civil war through securing Russian intervention. He was described as the single most powerful operative in the Middle East and a genius of asymmetric warfare. Former Mossad director Yossi Cohen said Soleimani's strategies and had personally tightened a noose around Israel's neck. So this guy was one of the top ops for Israel. So Trump killed him in a strike, which let me see here if I can see if we can get like how they did it. And this was a big fucking blow. So two things that Trump did that pissed him off. He ripped up the nuclear deal and he killed Qasem Soleimani, right? Who isn't really even an op for us like that. He's an op for Israel, right? Let me see if what was that? AI. Here we go. Boom. So here's how they did it. You guys know I like this channel, AI Telly. Subscribe. All right. Show them some love.
According to the FBI, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, through their intermediary Farid Sheikhari, an Akin man, hired Pop Rivera, a 49-year-old welder from Brooklyn, New York, as one of the individuals allegedly involved in an assassination plot. In November 2024, after Trump won the election, the FBI's investigation uncovered damning evidence, including text messages, photos, and voice recordings that detailed surveillance and assassination.
Now, mind you, they killed Qasem Soleimani in like 2020. When did they kill him? Yeah. They killed him in Trump's first term. And the Iranians have always been kind of pissed off about this. Okay. Yeah, he was assassinated January 3rd, 2020. Before the COVID pandemic, actually, interestingly enough.
Nation plans. But why would Iran want to assassinate President Trump?
Yeah, they and I covered some of the Iranian assassination attempts on Trump before, guys, and I think also on John Bolton, if I'm not mistaken, out in New York. Pop Rivera, I didn't. This case is a bit different, though. Let me look at this.
According to the FBI, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard.
Pop Rivera. November 8, 2024. Because I think I did this case already. Okay, conspiracy to provide material support to a designated terrorist organization. So 3 people, Carlo Rivera, a.k.a. Pop, and Jonathan Lodeholt. Yep. Commit conspiracy to murder for hire. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't cover this one. I covered the one from last year, I think. When did this guy get arrested? This dude getting the guns and shit like that. Yeah, these boys are cooked. Fairfield University? Black Honda, Fairfield University is in Connecticut, not too far from where my folks are at. That's interesting. Okay.
It all started back in 2020 when 3 U.S. Reaper drones, armed with Hellfire missiles, lay in wait for an Airbus A320 from Damascus to land. It was here that 2 cars arrived to pick up one of the Middle East's most feared generals, Qasem Soleimani of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. At that moment, the Reaper drone launched 3 Hellfire missiles at the 2 vehicles, sending them airborne. We also have the exact geolocation of where this happened. As you can see from the map, these are the vehicles that were destroyed, along with their corresponding latitudes and longitudes. More details all in the video ahead. Let's go back to where this all started in detail the 3rd of January 2020. From Syria, Damascus, the Chowwings Airlines Flight 501 started.
And you guys know that obviously the reason why he would be in Syria is because Syria is an ally of Iran, guys. Obviously during Bashar al-Assad's tenure. I explained this before, but one more time, just for those that might not be familiar. So, Iran, as you guys know, is the main proxy power that is fighting against Israel, but they do it through other intermediaries, through Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, etc. And the reason why Qasem Soleimani was probably in Syria was he has a good relationship with the Russians, and he was able to get the Russians to intervene and assist Syria with their conflicts in their civil war that they've had for a while to keep Bashar al-Assad in power. Because as you guys know, the rebels have been trying to take him down for well over a decade. So Soleimani obviously has a vested interest in keeping Bashar al-Assad in power, or he did, so that the axis of resistance can continue to exist, which is Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and the Houthis down here in Yemen.
Its engine down the runway.
That's more than likely why he was in Syria, or why he was in Syria and then traveled.
Damascus International Airport. At U.S. Baghdad International Airport, there are 3 U.S. Reaper drones that is capable of silently loitering for some time. They are waiting for Soleimani to get into a Toyota Camry sedan and an SUV. But why is he a high-value target? Well, the decision to take out the General Soleimani
Because Israel
was because around 580 Americans lost their lives due to his planning and executions, and finally on the 27th of December 2019. A rocket attacked by Soleimani-backed militia kills an American contractor at the K-1 Air Base in Iraq. 4 days later, on New Year's Eve, more armed militia vandalized the reception area at the American embassy in Baghdad City. These attacks infuriate U.S. President Donald Trump, so he decides to eliminate Soleimani once and for all. But late on New Year's Eve 2019, President Donald Trump decides to take the risk and orders a drone strike to kill Soleimani. Despite an earlier delay to Soleimani's flight, the CIA has been prepared for every contingency in this operation earlier in the day. At 10:30 a.m., the first Reaper drone took up station above Baghdad International.
And here, let me actually, you know what? Let's see here. Let's see how Reaper drones work.
According to the FBI, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, through their intermediary Farid Sheikhari, an Afghan man, hired Pop Rivera.
$32 million.
This is an MQ-9 Reaper drone, easily distinguished from other aircraft by its opaque canopy. That's because the pilot sits here, even as this Reaper flies over the high plains of New Mexico. This portable container
It's crazy how modern warfare has evolved so much, man.